does humanity want harmony, really? Or does it really, probably unconsciously, want chaos? Because if we look at the world, then we'd be torn, wouldn't we, if we wanted to answer that? Because there are lots of energies which are always tearing at the stability of the world to bring about chaos, because certain powers that be want us to always be disabled, so we don't get comfortable and don't start relaxing and maybe thinking for ourselves. God forbid. But I'm saying in this video, if you see, this is where I think the vast majority of people are lost, because I asked you to contemplate and I asked you to think for yourselves and to take a moment. I'm saying, if you personally want harmony, then why is it that the chances are you don't have it in your life? You don't have it in the exterior and you don't have it in the interior. And so the exterior, we could consider lots of variants, that family life, work life, global life, and all these things that they're always tearing at us and always putting enormous demands on us to keep us out of the bliss and the harmony. We don't have time for bliss and harmony. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, more importantly, is that even if you were privy to more leisure, which lots of you are, if you are, you're not working too much or at all, then you may start to introspect and to look within and listen to what your mind is doing and feel what your body's doing. And the chances are you'll feel that your body is in a state of anxiety of some level. And if you just manage to stay still if you dare, stay still if you dare. Most people, they don't dare to stay still, because this is the nature of neurotics or people with all different sorts of mental dispositions. They need to keep doing something to distract them from the actual essence of themselves. And so I speak about, do you have A.D.D? Do you have A.D.H.D? Do you have O.C.D? Do you have any other psychological issues pertaining to anxiety or depression, or other destabilising assessments that the DSM is full of? And if you do, then I ask, well, who's doing that? If you want peace and you don't want chaos, then who is bringing about the chaos within your mind? And then I'm saying, well, if it's you, then there is a big battle going on, a big paradoxical battle going on, because if you, in your egoic mind and maybe your heart, you want a still sedentary life which isn't given to chaos, then something else within you doesn't want that. And so if it isn't you, who is it? And so then we have to start contemplating other agencies. Now, I'm sure we're all on some level familiar with other agencies residing within us. I mean, if you are really a pragmatist or a materialist, then you wouldn't want to entertain the notion of spirits. You would just want to entertain the notion, well, oh, that's just my brain, that's just my mind. My mind, does this and my mind does that. Well, don't you think that's just very, very overly simplifying and dismissive? Because things just don't do things. Like randomly for no reason. There's always a reason behind what things do. And so if your mind is causing you internal chaos, then why is your mind doing that? And ask yourself, is it really your mind that's doing it? Or does your mind have negative energy attachments, i.e. spirits? Because if we look at that rationally, you see, in my book I speak about these topics, and I say, look, for those of you that have a problem with resident spirits within you because it's too terrifying, and you think it's too woo because you've not managed to get your head around it or investigate that, most people will accept that they have a spirit. Most people will do, yeah, I've got a spirit, I've got a soul, and maybe you think that's the same thing, which it isn't. But if you accept that you've got a spirit, and I'm sure if you're all religious you'll think it's Holy Spirit, so you accept that is the case. Well, if you accept that you have spirit, and you know it's a God-given spirit, then you might get to thinking, well, God also gave the world over to the evil one, and so he's supposed to have jurisdiction over the world, and so doesn't it stand to reason then, if he's more powerful than God in this dimension, then maybe his spirit is within me also. And so then we start to get a little bit closer, don't we? We start to engage with the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, and the polar opposites, which this cosmos is given to. And so if you're not too terrified, then you'll accept that, yeah, there's been many times when I've felt, you know, a certain evil, or at the very least very negative energy within me, and I've actually acted in a negative way due to these negative energies. And so therefore then we can assume that, well, there's at least two spirits then in most of us, isn't there? And then if you are prepared to accept that there's two spirits, well, it's not too much of a stretch to accept that there's myriad spirits. There's a whole bunch of spirits. And then I speak about spirits in other videos, saying that, you know, we have spirits for many, many things. We have the spirit of the lover, we have the spirit of the fighter, we have the spirit of the adventurer, we have the spirit of a coward. These are all things that have been around for a long, long time, like the archetypes on tarot cards, you know, the fool, and you know, all these different sorts of characters, you know, the wise old man or woman, and the knight in shining armour and all that sort of stuff. They're all archetypes. They're all energies that can work through us. And so whenever we're feeling really, really adventurous, well, we'd say that we have a spirit of adventure within us, wouldn't we? And then if we're doing something really spiteful and vindictive, nasty and evil, we go, well, there's evil spirits working through me because I want revenge, and I want to cause pain and suffering in somebody. And so therefore then, I would have thought it's very simple to just accept that we don't in actual fact have complete jurisdiction over our minds and bodies. Our minds and bodies are not really ours. They belong to other entities, other agencies. Maybe there's a little bit that belongs to God. Maybe there's a little bit that belongs to the devil. Maybe there's a little bit that's a lover and a fighter and an adventurer and all these things. And as I've said in many videos, that when I've been through my life and I've experienced many, many things, travelling many countries around the world, I've engaged with lots of different energies, and I felt energies come and I felt energies go. And just for instance, let's say like the spirit of adventure. Well, I don't have the spirit of adventure at this moment in time. There is nothing that's compelling me to, you know, pack up a hold-all and go travelling around the world. I just have lost that spirit of adventure. I find it too exhausting, too tedious, and there's nothing that draws me to go climbing mountains and trekking through tropical rainforests and doing all these things, you know. I live a much more sedentary life now. So that spirit, albeit could still be lying dormant within me. It isn't a prominent spirit. And so I asked these questions, and let me just see what the comments were in relation to that, to see if there's any value there at all, if anybody remotely was giving these things any thought. So, well, no, it says 4 comments, but one is just says 144,000 would be a good number for a clean, natural, healthy world. You could say even more extreme, that narrowing it down to 500 million. But think 144,000, abundance of resources, clean air, less pollutants, etc. Well, I mean, I look at that comment and I go, 144,000 would be a good number for clean, natural, healthy world. You could say even more extreme than narrowing it down to 500 million. I'm lost already. I'm lost. I'm lost in some sort of convoluted, paradoxical. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means, mate. Maybe you want to expand on that. 500 million is vastly more than 144,000. So how can 500 million be more extreme than reducing the population to 144,000? I would have thought reducing the population to 144,000 is vastly more extreme than 500 million. Next question. Next answer. I think 10 awakened braves could come up with a better system than capitalism in an hour of discourse. Okay, so 10 thinking people like me, we could come up with a better system. Well, I mean, I'd like to think so. But that's it. One of the other comments was my reply to one of them. So that's the extent of it. Nobody is contemplating what's going on in their minds. Nobody's giving any energy at all to looking at what is it that's causing the chaos in their mind. What is it that gives them O.C.D? What is it that makes them incessantly have to move things around in a very, very orderly way, and they can't actually leave the house until they've done all this tedious, incredible, oppressive, obsessive stuff. In one of the videos I was watching about somebody with O.C.D, among many other things that this person needed to do before he could leave his apartment was he had to touch every corner of every single tile in his bathroom, and his bathroom was tiled all around the bath and shower and the sink and everything. So to go in a sequential and touch every single corner, and he had to do that. What's making him do that? What sort of evil demon is stealing away his life, making him do that? These are the questions I'm asking people. Where do these demonic things come from? If you're just going to say, oh, that's just a condition of the mind, it's vastly too simple. Scientists haven't got a fucking clue about why we're doing these things. And so if you are in that camp, then you have just left your mind to idiot scientists which come up with this rubbish and this nonsense, because they haven't got a fucking clue, and they would never, ever, ever dare to consider the supernatural, the metaphysical. So therefore, they are completely bereft of any feasible explanation. But if you do start delving into that this is the metaphysical cosmos, and you are in actual fact metaphysical, the physical aspect of you is only Maya, then you would be much closer to solving your issues. Because you would look then that, well, I'm a spirit, but it doesn't appear that I'm alone here. If you have internal dialogue, then you have at least another spirit there. And if you're an expansive thinker, then you will engage with a conglomerate of people, like sitting around a board meeting, exchanging ideas. This is what thinking people do. They are investigating all different sorts of perspectives and energies, and they're asking, what drives them to do evil? What drives them to be benevolent? What drives them to incessantly do this and that? What drives them to be so lazy? What are these energies? Because when we have these energies come about, the amount of people I've spoken to, during, when I was engaged with, talking therapy and in any number of therapy, hypnotherapy, I've listened to people's stories about how imprisoned they were due to their in-house entities, which didn't allow them to get out of bed, which took away the vast majority of their energy, which depleted their motivation to do anything. And so we have to look very, very seriously at these things. Now, when I was listening to David Goggins, who is world renowned for his level of discipline, he doesn't speak so overtly and often about demons, but now and again he will mention demons, the demons that drive him, and the demons that he is running away from, that want to drag him back into being 300 pounds, lazy, a liar, and disinterested in life, and with the massive internal negative dialogue. Well, he's terrified of those demons, and so every single day he's fighting against them, and the only way he can make them stay away is by heading towards his highest level of perfection until he's exhausted every single day and he can't go on any further. And then as he falls into bed at night, he's absolutely cursed with the notion that he's got to get out of bed and do the exact same thing tomorrow. That's obsessive compulsive behaviour. So it seems to me that he does have O.C.D. very profoundly, and he is possessed with negative energies which are, forcing him into seeking out this higher level of perfection via his body. Not spiritually. He's not seeking it out spiritually. He doesn't speak about a spiritual war going on within inside him per se, because he's got no real notion of God. But he's got a notion of a higher self, and this higher self is the absolute ultimate best he can be physically. It's not really a mental thing with him. But when he is asked questions about, what he would say to people, he's really dismissive of people, and he says, I really don't care for people, I'm not interested in how they do this and how they do that, because they just couldn't fucking do what I do, and they wouldn't understand why I do it if I told them, so I can't fucking tell them. I can't fucking tell them why, I get up at 2 or 3 a.m. every single day, even when I absolutely hate and detest even the thought of it. Yet I push myself through it, and all these sort of things. He said because people will just think I'm fucking crazy. Well, I mean, there might be a lot of truth in that, to be fair. And when you look at, his book is, of course, it sold millions, because all the idiots, they're always looking for someone to tell them how to do it. Please tell me how I can be successful, and please tell me how I can be like you. And Goggins says, look, for fuck's sake, you don't need anybody to tell you how to do any fucking thing. If you look at yourself and you're not happy with yourself, then you just think about it yourself and you go, well, if I'm not happy with myself, what can I conjure up to change that? What can I fucking do? Do I need to read books and listening to all these videos of Tony Robbins? Yeah, jumping on his trampoline, yeah, let's get motivated. and all this stuff. And then when people are watching it in the audience, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But as soon as they walk out, you know, an hour later, they're in Burger King, and they've forgotten all about it. Fools. Yeah, every single one of them, the fools. But what he's saying is, for fuck's sake, people, if you look in the mirror and you don't like yourselves, or you've got some bullshit going on inside here, like he had, which was an internal dialogue, which was telling him he's a piece of shit every single second of his fucking life, then it's kind of like, well, how am I going to get... how am I going to get over that? It's kind of like, well, if I want to stop thinking like I'm a piece of shit, or if I want to get rid of this negative entity which is telling me that, then I've got to stop being a piece of shit. At least whatever my mind tells me is a piece of shit. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is stop fucking lying. And so he said to himself, well, I'm just going to try if I can stop lying for one day. If I can just stop lying for one day. And then he'd say, well, there's lots of days that he couldn't actually stop lying. So he felt so guilty about it, he had to go to these people who he lied to and said, by the way, I lied about that. You know, he wanted to get some release, you know, from his demons in that realm. And then, you know, looking at the body, it's kind of like, well, I mean, if I don't eat so much, and if I do some exercise, then it stands to reason that I'm going to be getting in shape, and I'm going to be, you know, losing, you know, all these excess pounds. And so now his average weight is 185 pounds, whereby it used to be 300 pounds. And so he keeps it down to that, and he's very, very trim, and he's happy with that. And it's a constant fight. But it's something that he worked out in his own mind. Why can't people do that? Why do they need to go, oh, what supplements do you take? What exercises do you do? What food do you eat? Do you eat any crystal burgers? Oh, I don't eat crystal burgers. Do you drink soda? It's all elementary stuff. You just look at what happens when we consume food. We consume calories, and how many calories do we need? Well, you don't even need to read any fucking books or listen to anybody. You just keep reducing the amount of calories and see what you best function on, and then you work it out yourself, because we're all different. We all burn calories at different fucking rates, and you know, all this bullshit out there is just simply bullshit. It's bullshit, people making money, and it's just there for the idiots. There's so many idiots on this fucking planet. It is untrue. Not a single one barely can think for them fucking selves, or act under their own fucking agency. So they all need to follow somebody else, following everybody, everywhere, all the time. And as soon as they can't follow anybody, then they just fall back into the bag of shit, physically and mentally, that they are. And most of the time, like Goggins says, you just won't be able to do. You would never be able to do what I do. I'm the only person in the fucking world that can do this. You know, basically, here's how many people have run 200 fucking miles. I think the furthest you ran on one occasion was 205 miles. How many people are prepared to even attempt that? You know, 4 fucking 8 marathons, man. You know, fucking hell, it's unbelievable. And he says he's got no sympathy whatsoever. And then he talks about fat people and, you know, lazy people as if they are, you know, the scum of the earth, the vermin. And, you know, there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there? The people that don't have self-respect for themselves, that don't have their own energy to think about what direction they want to go in, they just give up because they're too fucking lazy. And then they'll be buying Tony Robbins' videos, and they'll be buying Goggins' book whilst they're eating fucking crisps and supping on a soda, lying on the couch. It's just shocking, absolutely shocking. Why do people need to follow? Why don't people have their own minds? You know, there's been lots of speak about NPCs and automaton, and there's a lot of you which will have the deepest of resentment about these notions. But the fact of it is, look around, open your fucking eyes, and prove that wrong. the fucking drones just droning around, just doing droning fucking jobs and living droning lives and just getting fatter and unfit and everything else, and they're never achieving anything in their lives. Why is this? Because they don't have spirit, they don't have consciousness. I would think that Daniel Dennett is who was a renowned philosopher of recent times. He speculated that consciousness was an illusion. Well, I think it is in the vast majority of people. It isn't there. You see, consciousness illusion means that it just isn't what it appears to be. It is an illusion that most people have got consciousness. They haven't. They are automaton. They're automated drones, and they are just following orders, and that's why they need to read books to motivate and how to eat and what not to do, because they haven't got a fucking clue themselves. They could never have a conversation with themselves because there's nothing inside to converse. There's nothing there. And when we've got people who don't actually have internal monologue, well, what can we say about that? If they don't have a voice in their head, how can they ever fucking decide to do anything? They just do, don't they? Because external powers and energies are manipulating them. They are nothing more than fucking puppets, and the puppet masters are the societal gurus, and whoever they want to watch on fucking YouTube that just put something into their head because they can't generate those thoughts themselves. How many people want to have a conversation about that? How many people have thought about that? How many people agree with that? How many people flatly negate it? You just don't want to go there, do you? You don't want to fucking go there. Because, you've got an hour to watch YouTube, and it's kind of, oh, fucking hell. And you've got to get up, and you've got to go and work for the man tomorrow, and you've got to pay for this, and you've got to pay for that, and you want to do this, and you're working towards your holiday, and, you're not present, you're not now, so you can't think. You just do, don't you? You just do. So you're automaton the same as the rest. And albeit some of you may have a little thought of your own now and again, it's fleeting. And then you're back to the automaton version of yourselves again. Philosophy is a privilege of the emancipated. When you are emancipated from the pressures and demands of society, then you are free to start thinking for yourselves if you have consciousness, if you have spirit. But of course, if you don't have consciousness and spirit, when you are free, then you're absolutely bored. You are bored to the point whereby you just want to jump off a fucking building, aren't you? Yeah, that's the truth of it, and we can listen to this, all over YouTube. And for those of you that watched the video that I posted on a couple of my videos, where this guy is in America and he's asking the American public such questions about how many moons are there around the Earth, and people are like 48, and then another one goes 2. Just guessing, absolute guessing. And then one woman, she would ask, like, how many countries are there? And she went, oh, a country. What's a country? And then she's laughing with her mates. What's a country? And just so many other things, absolutely shocking. And so I'm not mothering you, I'm not posting the fucking video again. If you haven't seen it, then, go fucking find it yourselves. Think about things that you want to watch on YouTube, and actually type fucking shit in that you're looking for, instead of just following red bells all the fucking time and the algorithm. So yeah, these videos falling on dead ears, because obviously my viewers are dead. It's, well, it just is what it is. It is what it is. And so for the very few of us that have read any philosophy and took it upon ourselves that we want to see, be privy to how other people have thought, then we've had a pretty extensive education into the psyche of great thinking minds, and so we kind of bear them all in mind when we're making our assessment. And then, of course, when you are versed in philosophy, it's also being versed in psychology. Because we've got to question our own minds. We've got to look inside our own selves. We've got to see what's going on with all the energies and the spirits that vicariously live through us and all the different sorts of things. So by the time we've educated ourselves with philosophy and psychology, then the next port of call is spirituality. And so then we go into that, and then we get really deep. And then we go into existentialism, and then we go into mysticism and the paranormal and the supernatural and all these sort of things. Before you know it, you're just out there, like one of the viewers said, with the fairies, because there's nothing else going on here, people, except a bunch of fucking fairies. That's what this world is. It's just fairyland. It's fiction. It's fantasy. There is absolutely nothing real going on here. It's a dream in the mind of God, and we are God. And but what are you going to do with that? Oh, you're always saying that, Aaron. It always comes back to that. What use is that to me? Well, you'll have to work that one out, because if you don't consider that information is useful to you, and the only thing that's useful to you is listening to fucking CNN or the BBC, well, you'll work it out or not. You'll work it out or not. But to finish off this video, what people want is to be told what to do. That's ultimately what they want, to be told what to do. They want videos of how to. They just need this how-to, because they have been taught all their lives that you'll never get any answers in here. Don't even bother considering, thinking or looking in here. No, look at me, look at me, look at the blackboard. This is where it's all going on the blackboard. And where's this all coming from? It's coming from this secret book that all the teachers hold, the textbook, for the curriculum. Nobody ever picks that book up and looks in that. No, it's a secret book that all these teachers have. And how many times did I see these dumbass teachers that were supposed to be teaching us, that were just imparting this bullshit in these secret textbooks coming down from the cabal, and they would just be holding it there and chalking it on the fucking board. And what would the students have to do? Just write it down in our books. Just copy the shit. Never asked us to fucking memorize it. Never asked us to question it. Just asked us to copy the shit down. And hoping that by the time we've wrote stuff down, then a little bit has entered into our unconscious, and so we could regurgitate that shit. And for our homework, we're supposed to read it maybe a couple of times to memorize it, but we're not asked to question it or rationalize it or anything like that. No, don't be questioning this shit. Just copy and obey. And so that's what everyone does. They copy and obey. And so now when they come out of school and university, they are copy and obeyers. That's all they are. And that's why they're looking for David Goggins to tell them how to be this superhero. And then they're looking for Tony Robbins, and they're looking for Sadhguru and all the fucking rest of them, because they have got no ability whatsoever just to sit down and go, what am I? What is this? Let me see if I close my eyes. What happens? What happens if I close my eyes and shut the fuck up for 10 minutes? What happens? Let's see. People can't do that. 99% of the people would never ever fucking dare do that. They wouldn't even think about doing that. They just wouldn't. It's never something that's going to enter their minds, because they're not thinking people. But for a few of you who are a little bit thinking people, a little bit, I see no evidence of anybody that is more than a little bit. Now and again, there's somebody on the channel that has got something interesting, profound to say. But I think mostly, even you guys, it's kind of, what's the fucking point? There's no fucking point in just saying this shit and writing it down, taking my energy and this, that and the other. Yeah, and I'm with you. You know, what is the fucking point? What's the point in me making all these videos? Ultimately, I don't believe there's any fucking point. I just believe that, you know, we're just doing shit which we're driven to do through the circumstances which have had, you know, in our lives, and we've got certain compulsions and certain energies working through us, and we just do some different shit. Some of you like doing gardening, some of you like playing the fucking flute, some of you like playing crib, and we all just do different shit, don't we? What's the point to anybody playing crib? What's the point to anybody playing the fucking flute? What's the point to anybody doing crochet? Fucking no point. No point. There's no point to anything. No point to anything. Other than you just fucking passing time. What else you gonna fucking do? You know, if you've got your 24 hours a day and you've got 70 fucking years, what the fuck are you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do? But so, just to finish this off, I was just listening to a 15-minute video with Jordan Peterson and Chris Williamson in an interview, and Chris Williamson, I think it's Chris Williamson. But the question was, why would anybody consider God to be real? And then Peterson's like, you know, because, you know, your whole life and destiny and everything that you are depends on it. And it's kind of like, well, fucking says who? If you can't see God, if you can't feel God, then what's the fucking point in just believing and doing all that shit that Christians do? What's the fucking point? Well, you know, the point is your soul, whether you're going to go to hell or not. And it's kind of, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this shit? You know, that, you know, these people have latched onto, and, you know, people like Peterson, who, you know, most would consider is a broad, expansive thinker, but he's thinking more and more narrowly as each day goes by, as he gets more and more embroiled into this fucking hypothetical fucking nonsense of the Old Testament and the New Testament, when just trying to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, trying to make sense out of a complete load of bollocks. And it's a sickness. I do believe it's a sickness. And this guy interviewing Peterson says, well, like, surely if God wanted us to, you know he's there, then he'd make it a whole lot fucking easier for us to do that. No, you've got to work hard, you've got to strive, you've got to seek, you've got to punish yourself. And it's like, fucking hell, this shit's obsessive. It really is. It really is like evil itself, which embroils people in a level of obsession that they can't be free. They can't just go, just random shit, and it's just happening, and, you know, fucking hell, you know, who knows what's going to go on. But no, you're going to go to hell unless you do this and do that. And Peterson goes, every single day, all day. And it's like, you boys are getting too fucking fanatical for my liking. There's a fucking pervasive sickness coming over the world, if you ask me. And so I just look at this shit and go, what the fuck? But, you know, then, you see, all these idiots, they have to believe in the apocalypse. And so why aren't they speaking about the apocalypse? Why aren't they screaming on their fucking vegetable boxes in the marketplace about the looming apocalypse? Why aren't they speaking about the what appears to be the imminent Third World War, which the Bible has prophesied, and now we've got 500,000 troops on the border of fucking Ukraine, and nuclear submarines, Russian and Chinese, you know, in close proximity to America and the West? Well, you know, why aren't people speaking about that? Why aren't these Christian freaks dressing up their children in the Sunday best, waiting for the apocalypse? Why aren't these Christians telling their children to put clean underwear on? Like, you know, we used to get told years ago, when it's Sunday, you put clean underwear on Sunday, you put your Sunday best on, and you have a wash behind your ears and all that sort of thing, because, you know, you're going to go into the house of God. It's God's day. And so, well, if fucking God's looming with his apocalypse that all Christians believe in and they must want it to happen because it's God's will, well, why aren't they preparing? Why aren't they reading Bible verses to their children in preparation for this to make sure that they go in heaven? And making sure that all the clean underwear is placed on the end of the children's bed so they know what to do, and so they brush their hair and they clean their teeth. Yes, but nobody's talking about that. You know, does anybody give a fuck? Is anybody really taking this shit serious? Or are people just fucking selling this shit? I think they're just selling this shit, people. I think they're like Brand and Peterson and all the rest of these fucking so-called religious converts. They're just selling this shit. You see, I know on my channel, as soon as I started putting God in the title, I drew these freaks like flies round shit. And all of a sudden my subscribers went woo, you know, my views went woo, and I've got all these fucking idiots and freaks on my fucking channel. And as soon as I stopped putting God in the title, they all fucked off. And so this is it. This is what these people have done, and it's like the likes of Jones, Alex Jones, you know, all talking about God's gonna look after God, and this that, and the other. They all know that the fucking idiot American, 50% of them at least, think that the Earth is fucking flat because it says so in the Bible, the four corners of the world, and you know, Jesus is coming to save them. But even though it says about, well, before Jesus comes to save them, everyone's going to burn, well, man, you know, they don't want to think about that, and they just think Jesus is going to save me. I'm looking forward to Jesus is going to save me. And so then they're not preparing themselves for the apocalypse. You know, how selective is the dumb-ass motherfucker? Just so fucking ridiculously selective. It's just shocking. And, you know, I truly fucking hope that there is an apocalypse, that there is an Armageddon, there is a Third World War, because this fucking world, it needs shaking up. It really does. It needs fucking levelling and starting again. Because we've just got into this realm of fucking so much fantasy and fiction about so many things, and there's so many offshoots of, you know, this theory and that theory, and nobody knows a fucking thing about anything. And, you know, I think this is one of the things also that the New World Order is trying to bring around. It's trying to put one answer for one question on Google, because it knows it's getting out of hand. Things are getting out of hand. It wants to bring about one religion and one global governance and, you know, one army and one fucking human being, one creed, and, you know, all this. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is complete and utter chaos. So the New World Order in Latin means order, out of chaos, and so they can see that the chaos is looming fucking, you know, exponentially, and so they are working very, very hard to bring some sort of order. How do they do it? By restricting the world, but by you know, preventing people coming up with new ideas, by brainwashing their scientists and their students in university to only be thinking in one linear way. And this is why, you know, these cabal, they've got a war on the so-called free-thinking people, the alternative medias and this, that and the other. And ultimately they all will be closed down. Every single one of them will be closed down. And it will be very George Orwellian 1984. There will just be the government doublespeak, and there will be one answer for one question. And then people will fucking settle down and, you know, just fall into an automated state which is vastly more governable than the free radicals that thinking brings about. Thinking brings about free radicals, people, and that's just vastly too difficult to contain and control. And so that's why they're dumbing the world down. That's why they're closing down, or will be closing down, all these free thinking portals, because it is going to be creating chaos. Because all it's doing is making people too confused as to what the fuck is going on here. Because look at what we've got here. We've got evolution, we've got the fucking Big Bang, we've got simulation, we've got hologram, we've got many worlds, we've got fucking dream in the mind of God, we've got God created it, we've got Satan rules it and he's got jurisdiction over it, we've got Buddhist philosophy, we've got all different sorts of other 4,000 religions of philosophies, we've got atheism, you know, we've got Gnosticism, on and on and on and on. What do you do with this? Where do you go with this, people? You know, when I was growing up, my old man told me to keep things simple. Because even as a kid, you know, I was pretty complex. He told me to keep things simple. And, you know, there's a lot to be said for ignorance and simplicity. Because it's much more orderly than complexity and sagacity, you know, because if we have a lot of knowledge, then we also have a whole lot more questions, and the more knowledge that we acquire, the more questions that we have, the less stability that we have, and so we end up in the Nietzschean abyss, because that's the arena, because there's so many hypotheses and, you know, hypothesis unprovable, and so there's so much which is unprovable, and this is why the globalists, they're adamant, you know, that there's a physical world here and we all must obey and this, that and the other, because if we go into the metaphysical, then it just goes wild. But the fact of it is, the paradox of it is, it isn't a physical world, it is a metaphysical world. And so look what's going on. Look what's going on. Isn't it just bizarre? It's so bizarre. It's so dichotomous and paradoxical that absolutely nothing that we perceive as human beings has any semblance of reality to it. And yet, this feels real. This is real. Oh, that hurt my head. Yeah. But if you step outside of that way of thinking into the Cartesian way of thinking, then you realise that nothing is real, nothing is dependable. And then you go, oh fuck. Well, just better chill the fuck out then. Just better chill the fuck out. Just chill the fuck out. Whatever will be, will be. Whatever it is, it fucking is. Chill the fuck out. So those of you that are chilling the fuck out, you're probably in the best position to deal with any Third World War or Holocaust or apocalypse or whatever fucking else have got lined up for us. Just chill the fuck out.